Should be live in a few seconds. And we are live. Welcome everyone to the Next10 team meeting. As usual, please add yourself to the agenda. I will paste it here in the chat. Add myself. All right. Before we start, is there any announcement? If not, then we can go ahead with our agenda. Item number 1, we have 2025 survey. I think we can, we were discussing about the survey results last week. So let's see if this is related. All right.
Next one was from the last survey, I think.
I think we should we remove
296.
this?
I think it's like we haven't done anything for almost a year. So it was like after the last survey, perf and diagnostics was like flagged as an area that maybe we should do something, but like we haven't. And unless we really think something's going to change, maybe just closing and saying, well, good idea, but we'll set new priorities based on the new survey would make a lot of sense.
Okay, so we can, I think since we have just 3 items on the agenda and like the survey is the biggest one, I think we can just go ahead and do that for this meeting, go through the answers. So let me grab the results. I need to find that. The results. Yep. Okay, I can share my screen. Let me share this window. Okay, this should be it. So I think last time we stopped at probably here. What is your primary use case for Node? Maybe I should check the agenda from last time. Yep, primary use case Q9. This was where we stopped last time. Okay, so I think we can go to the next one, which is Q10. And that is, what operating system is your local development environment? So we have a lot of Windows and macOS users. And surprisingly, a lot of Android users. And Android is like experimental platform. It's not even like tier 3. It's experimental support. So that is surprising, in my opinion.
Very.
This is very surprising. Maybe for app development, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how to. I expected like Linux, Windows, and macOS. Linux with Docker, Windows with Docker, and
Yep.
VSL that is in line. But Android, like that's unexpected.
Yeah, it's definitely the surprise, although I don't know that we're gonna do anything new in the project because of that, right? Like it's unless we have like new collaborators that show up and
Yeah. I
like
wanted
that.
to check if we have the row like the other, which is very low.
Right.
So as usual, we should showcase these results at the Collab Summit in JSConf NA, which I will
Yep.
be attending. So uh, we'll see. I will be able to talk about this.
Yes. Good.
Okay. All right. I think we can go to the next one. What is your operating system in which you are running Node.js in production? Again, a lot of Linux with Docker, a lot of Linux in general, a lot of Windows too in production, Linux with Docker, and here a lot of Android. So I think these are all apps, like app development.
Curious.
So
Almost
yeah,
as much Android as Windows.
that is curious.
Yeah, like I think it would be interesting. We could look at what it was last year. And Android, so yeah, is like the new outlier, but
Yeah.
I want like Windows, the number is that different from last year. I'm just gonna go take a look at the
Yeah, also unknown. A lot of people don't know their well, a lot. I think this is like 3-4%. Yeah, I think this makes sense. But like Android is crazy.
yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to get the pages open to say what was it last time. Yeah, I guess Android didn't show up. I guess did we add Android to the choices?
We added this year. Last year it
Right,
was not
okay.
available.
Right. So I mean, I guess that might explain part of the difference is that like if you see your choice, it makes you think of it more than you might otherwise.
Yep.
Windows looks a little higher. Like last year, Windows was 9.5%.
This
This
year
year,
is like
it's
12
10
or
or 11.
13.
Yeah. That's still in the same ballpark though.
Yeah.
Interesting though, the Linux and Unix are reversed from last year. Last
Like,
year, Linux Unix was the biggest one, and Linux with Docker was the second biggest one. So they're just reversed in terms of they probably add up to a similar amount.
but I think it makes sense with containerization
Yeah.
and like generally virtualizing the environments. Uh, I think it's like it's expected, nothing unexpected.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like it continues to be that Linux is the biggest deployment, whether it's bare metal or on in containers. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I
I don't
think
think
it's worth highlighting Android and talk
yeah,
about with other collaborators that apparently
yeah.
Android has a large niche in of usage. So that
We
would be
said that was
my
about 9%, right?
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have what is your architecture in which you are running Node.js in production? We have x64, which is almost 50%, which is I would expect it more, but then we have x86,
Yeah.
so it's 32-bit, but Node does not support. I think Node 20 is the last like Windows 32-bit compatible build.
Right.
I think
I guess
so.
so that people could easily be using older
Yeah.
versions.
And the majority, well, not the majority, but a large part doesn't know which architecture they're running Node in production.
Yeah, it's interesting. Last year, 68% reported x64 and don't know was only 6.5%. So we got a much bigger don't know this time.
That's weird. So probably because a lot of, well, if we go back to what is your operating system, like I guess that people, like not many people use serverless, but in general, like probably they use providers where they like everything is running in a container, so they don't interface directly with the machine, or they don't care if it's a ARM machine or
Yeah.
x64. Also, it could, for example, it could be multiple. Like you could be running your architecture, distributing your, like if you distribute something, it'd be running on all of this at the same time. Also, Android mostly runs on ARM. So I think that large part could also come from Android with mobile phones.
It is interesting. Like last year, ARM was 23%, which like was significantly bigger. And you know, as a overall like growing part.
Yeah. Other is very small, so like I think we captured all the possible options, but I expect that during the years we will see the don't know increase and
Yeah.
probably the ARM also increase and x86 decrease and x64 like stay almost the same or like slightly decrease. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go to Q13. How do you get your node executables? 55, 56% uses a version manager like NVM. Then we have Docker images, which is 40%. Then we have building node from source, 20%. That's a lot.
It's interesting. I think the previous year we may have only allowed a single select, and this year we allowed a multi-select just out of interest.
Yeah.
Because we got like last year it was 60% with the NVM manager, but the Docker image was, did we have okay, we didn't actually have Docker image there. So but yeah, no, okay. So yeah, the data is looking, the shape's different, but that could be explained by multi-select.
Official installer is 20%. Package managers like npm or yarn is 20%. System package manager a bit less than 30%. Also downloading binaries directly is, but yeah, NVMs is probably the bigger one, and also Docker images makes sense. I mean, building from source is unexpected. I did not expect so many people building Node from scratch.
Yeah, what percentage is that?
More than 20.
Wow.
Yeah, that's odd, but okay. Other is quite large. Do you have the other
Let me see if I can get that up.
document?
I've got to open it, find it in my mail. Let's see if I can find it. Right. Okay. Oops. I'm opening it. Hello, this. Okay, so now I need to find the right column, which I always have some fun with. I'm gonna, sorry, this was Google Sheets. Okay, now I got the real thing. So this was, what is your, so this is how you get your node executables, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think I've got other. Let me see if I can sort based on that column. Just looking for. There were like, does 139 responses sound like I got the right column?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how do you get your, because the next
Next one is
the
which
next
package
question. Yeah,
manager?
okay. So right, I have the right column. So like I sorted by the name and nothing like there's like 4 or 5 chat GPTs, there's a compiling, there's a bunch of
So it's
stuff which
garbage.
really doesn't, yeah. Well, node source is maybe 5 or 6. So there's a few that are not garbage, but like there's no major, like in that other, despite it being big, there's nothing that really amounts to a lot.
Okay. So, all right, I guess we can go to the next question then,
Yeah.
if there is nothing that stands out.
Yeah.
Okay, next one is which package manager do you use? So almost 60% uses NPM. And second place, we have PNPM. I think this is expected. Bun is like 7%. But nothing unexpected from here.
Yeah, I'm just taking a quick look from last year to see if there's any like major changes, because that's kind of interesting. So yeah, so NPM, the yarns, yeah, PNPM, pretty much, yeah, it looks very similar to last year, so no major surprises.
All right. Then we have which version manager do you use? Again, we have NVM, almost 50%. Then we have FNM, Node.js, NPM, PNPM, Volta, and none of the above. So none of the above. What does that mean?
I guess they don't use a version manager,
Yeah.
or they don't use, it would be like, I guess you could say other, or you could say I use some other version manager. And I think the none of the above was to let people basically not just say other, right? Like, I think that's more of a, yeah, I don't use one.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
again, so NVM,
Yeah.
slightly, it was 56 last year, 48 this year. The next highest was FNM at 6% last year. This year, we'd say it's, yeah, it's a little bit higher. But I don't see anyone. We do have like some others like PNPM we didn't have in the list, and Volta, and like, but nothing is like massively changed, it doesn't seem like.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's can you see the other? Because they are like 4%.
Sure. Yep, I am going there now. If I get back to that, where did I go? too many. Okay, right. There we go. Oops. No, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find the window now where it's. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry. So. Is this others? Okay, so MISE, is that one MISE?
MIS.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we streaming on YouTube? I don't see the.
Did you
It's top
start?
right. Yeah, it's streaming. It has a little icon on the top right.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So yeah, MISE it says like a polyglot version manager. So
Okay, we should add that into the next year.
yeah, let me now I'm just trying to find our notes again. Oh, there we go. Yeah. MISE so should next year. Okay, let me look at what else is there that NIX is another one.
NIX.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nix.
I guess that's a package manager. It says Nix package manager. How is it different from APT?
Oh no, it's
It's
that stuff on steroids. It's like a whole environment manager.
yeah.
So that would be like similar to saying like, okay, we use apt or DNF on rel or.
Yeah.
So it is yeah, it's interesting like that. Those do follow. NVS is another one that shows about 10. Did we? NVS version. I think that's the Windows one that. I guess it's how many. I'm gonna say, put that in there. NVS had about 10 in other. There's Proto.
Don't know that one.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
I don't know, it's F&M, but we already had that in the list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the like MISE, NVS, and Proto are maybe the three that there was at least 4 or 5 of each that
Okay.
okay.
All right. So I think this one, nothing surprising. It's in line with what we expect.
Yep.
So let's go to the next one. We have Q16. How do you manage the package manager for your project? This one has a high skip rate. Top one, I use one version installed globally for my project. I use a tool to pick a specific version per project. I use containers. I think we should probably remove this question next year.
I'm looking at how that managed containers grew. Did it? No, it's about the same. There's one version was about 60% last year, and I pick a tool was 25%. That's about the same. Where did the other ones go? Let's see.
Which other ones?
I'm just looking to try and Oh, it says I use a tool to pick a specific version per project.
Yeah. It looks like 25, 26%.
Right, that one last year was 25%. So I guess, yeah, I guess it's about the same as last year.
Okay, so no big change here.
Yeah. Yes, we might want to think about like it's still I think it's a particular interest of like because there's been a lot of discussions around the package managers and stuff, but maybe the question with the high skip rate, although there's still 2,300 people who answered it, so that's a pretty big number anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we have a few high skip rate questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one, I think, also has a Q17 as a high skip rate. I think because there are too many answers,
Options.
like too many options. Yeah, like this one is huge. And TypeScript support is number 1. ESM number 2. I think we delivered both of
Yep.
those ones. Then it follows modern HTTP. I think, no, better multi-threaded support, DX, modern HTTP, support for features from the latest. I cannot see exactly what it is.
I think actually the suitable types for end user. I think we
No,
added
I mean,
TypeScript specifically. Those two maybe should have been combined, the second and like the suitable types for end users and TypeScript.
I think it's different. I think suitable types is for like node types, or
Like
like,
@type/node.
I
yeah,
think it was meant to
Hmm.
be a generic version of like, hey, types are important to people, but not specifically TypeScript when we first added it to the priorities.
Well, is there another choice now?
Well, TypeScript, which is specifically TypeScript, right?
No,
Right.
no, but
That
I mean,
would
there's no
overlap.
other type of choices. Like, are we gonna support um oh God, what was that F one called? Anyway, it's dead. Yeah, like
flow.
yes, thank you. Yeah.
No,
I
I
think
don't
TypeScript
think
is
we
the only
will.
option now.
Yeah.
Right. Like I guess when I look at it, it's like we said, hey, let's add TypeScript because it's important. What we might have, and it's still, I think we said like let's include it because we wanted the survey, but we should go back and look at the technical priorities. We might want to revise our technical priorities to say, well, the reality is types are TypeScript. Therefore, the priority is support for TypeScript, not some generic thing, right?
Can we?
I disagree. I think they are distinct because if it's types, I think this is types/node, which is a different project, and the releases of types/node are not um, they don't always coincide with the node release. They lag because, uh, for one thing, they can't release at the same time. So then that means that your types are not always quite right.
That I won't disagree with that. I'm just going now looking at what was actually written down for what was that?
I think this one we need to next year we need to rework this question
Yeah,
because
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think we need to rework the priority and then at the very least, and then the question is like a whole separate topic.
yeah.
This is what was written, this is what's written in the technical priorities.
Mm.
Yeah.
So whether that covers what you were just talking about, Jacob, or not, I don't know, but like it was written to be generic, I think. Like I think it was trying to avoid saying TypeScript while agreeing that type support was important. But anyway, I just looking at it from here, like we should figure out how to rationalize those two or not, maybe make them more specific. But for this one, like there's no, for me, the main thing is on this question is like, are the technical priorities that we've identified, do people believe they're important, right? And I don't see any zeros for things, right? Like,
Yeah.
right? Like that's kind of
Well,
and
this
the
and none
other
of the
is not
above.
very big, right? So go
Yeah,
ahead.
other and none of the above are pretty small.
Right. So but that's the good part, right? Like that's basically saying, uh, none of the
Yes.
above means that like, yeah, most people are like, those are priorities for us. And then the other is like, we can take a look. Maybe that gives us some other ones it should be. But for me, it's like, hey, the survey confirms that the things we've identified as priorities are in fact matching what the ecosystem sees as priorities.
Mm. Well, yeah, I think what we can probably take away here is that we do want to have fewer options next time, and then we can use this as sort of the starting point. Then we create our short list. Once we like are delivering on that short list, then they kind of like fall off and get replaced by the next set of things or something like that. Or like have a different question that says like, what should our next list of priorities be?
Yeah, I could see that. Like, I guess we can discuss that for the next survey,
Mm,
right? Like, I see this as valuable in terms of like, for anything that we have as a priority, if the ecosystem said this isn't a priority, that's interesting, right? So if we drop it to a
mm,
shorter list, it doesn't quite cover off the validation part. Now we could
mm.
decide like, oh, that's not that important. Let's ask some other different questions. But um, I think
Okay.
for like discussion here, no major surprise, right? Like there's no
Mm.
one which disappeared to zero or became the biggest one, or other than here, let me see if I can find the other,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is I'm trying to get relevant APIs and core, async modules. TypeScript support is the bottom one, so none of the above. Let's see if there's a. Okay, this is where it gets hard for me to find. Okay, TypeScript support. Ability to. Okay, let's sort. Sorry, I'm just sorting. Yeah, I'm trying to. Some of these multi-select, it's a bit hard to figure out what the other is. What I want to do is figure out how do I unsort. All right, I'm gonna have to search on Google Doc unsort.
I have to jump into another meeting like in 15 minutes, so I will
Yep.
reserve the last 10 minutes so that I don't like have to jump because it's been already 2 hours.
Sure, yeah. So if you want to drop off, we could end here, or you want to just move to the next one?
Let's go to the next one. This one also has a very high skip rate. I can see why. Because it's huge. I think we should also rework this one. But I like top number one is well-maintained and secure standard library, consumable APIs and docs, good security and CV practices, predictable and stable releases, relevant APIs, error handling. Yeah.
Jesus, it's a lot.
Yeah, this one is crazy.
I literally cannot read them. Like there's so many options that it appears so small on my screen. All I can see is
Same.
like some lines.
I'm sure yeah, I got a big screen so I can see them. I'm sure in the survey though, it was big enough. We still got 2,200
Oh.
responses. That's only like half, but
Yeah.
even so. I think that one we could go and look at, like,
Try to group some
yeah,
of them.
it's true. Like, what's important? Is there, like, in general, maybe it's worthwhile figuring out like better groupings for the what's important then.
Yep.
But it doesn't look like anything. There are a few like supportive collaborators, ways to find their work. Like, it could be that like maybe we choose to say like for this survey, we cut out some constituencies. Like some of these are like for Node core collaborators, right? And maybe like we don't need to ask whether that's important to the general group because it's less important. And that might filter out a number of these that are
Yeah.
in the lower ends, right? And we'll get information more about like for the people outside the project, what's important is really our question. So that, yeah, could make sense.
Yeah, I think we should remove everything that is like Node collaborator stuff because we have a Node collaborator survey, so we can split
Yeah.
a few things.
And that should be easy because we have like a matrix that says what's important to who, and we could basically just cut out a few of the who's, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this one last. We have, what are you using the following experimental features of Node? High skip question. I think the number of options. We have TypeScript support, cool, .env and TypeScript support are number like the most one. We have none of the above. Glob, require ESM. As expected, we have a bunch of people using the node config JSON, so I'm happy about that. Corpac. I think Corpac usage is less than the previous year because we
Killed it.
we killed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
I'm always surprised about async hooks that has 20% usage. Like,
that seems crazy high. Is this
yeah.
just Brian and Steven filling this out like 50 times?
Yeah, but like, if we say, I don't think people fill it out 50 times because we take 2,100 people and async hooks is like 25%. That would say like 600 people said they're using that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that seems insanely high. Brian and Steven are the only two people that I have ever met who have even heard of
Same.
this.
I've never used it.
Well, yeah, directly for sure.
Well, yeah.
Like any company that's using an APM is likely using them in some way, but they may like them actually knowing that is the part that's harder to believe.
Well, I think this question was more targeting what people are directly using.
Right.
Maybe we should say that next time, because
Yeah.
if someone happens to know that like an APM is using this thing, then I don't think that's really the answer that we want.
Yeah, it's kind of two questions though, right? Like,
yeah,
we're interested in whether they're being used, so we don't really care how they're using that in one sense. Separately, it would be interested to know like how many people actually write code. But I wouldn't want to exclude the, like, if you know you're dependent on this, I wouldn't want it to come up to be 0 and we say, well, we can just remove async hooks, right?
Yes.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but I have to drop. So,
okay.
Like, I think you can host.
I think we might as well close out for this week and.
All right.
Yep.
So, thank you, everyone. Let's talk
Cheers.
in 2 weeks. Bye.
See everybody later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.